Call the November 20th, 2025 meeting of the Area Planning Commission to order. Please rise to the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Did you steal my pen?
Can you steal your pen?
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Darren Price,
Present.
Bill Free,
Present.
Tim Sparks,
Present.
Dale Munson,
Present.
Gary Naylor,
Present.
Robert Stewart, Brian Robb,
Present.
Bill Mackey,
Present.
Greg Kiefaber,
Present.
Bill McDaniel,
Present.
Jeff Wesley,
Present.
and Beverly Reed.
Okay, we have two sets of meetings, minutes before us, July 24th, 2025 and August 28th, 2025. Do we have any additions or corrections to either one of those?
Make a motion to accept.
I'm Sparks.
You got
I'm
October's,
surprised.
you got October as well?
Well, there was no
Separate.
meeting, so.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
For a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay.
I had your name spelled wrong here, Tim. I'm surprised you didn't catch that.
You know, I'm used to being called a lot of names.
You were tying on my minutes.
Don't tempt anyone.
Uh,
Okay, next up, zoning code updates, accessory uses.
So, the only thing I really had the opportunity to, after the last month or so, to work on was I finally had time and the opportunity to work on accessory dwelling units. So that's why it just made sense to provide that rather than the, okay. Yeah, rather than inserting these in the full document. Okay. So what this right here is everybody read through it yet?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the first part, just like any other, clause or section in the ordinance, it's we go through the purpose of it with, the accessory dwelling units. And, so that's why, for example, then the housing needs, small regenerational living, affordable housing, it provides support for caregivers, independent living. Okay, then it could provide, then financial benefits could provide rental income. It could increase the home value and the cost-effective housing. And other purposes are, since the ADUs are meant to be designed so they fit in both the size of it, height of it, and where they're located on the property. Okay, it fits in with established neighborhoods. So neighborhood preservation, and that's what it's referring to, neighborhood preservation. And then the flexibility to adapt the property to changing needs over time. And one thing, both with accessory dwelling units, we've had a lot more requests in particular is ever since the COVID. Because so a lot more people are less willing to place their parents or grandparents in nursing homes because of because I think everybody recalls how the COVID just raged through nursing homes. So people were, that might have done that in the past with their families, they're wanting to find ways to keep them close. And that's one of the things really for the accessory dwelling units. Okay, another aspect of that is if you have an aging community, we also have the, we're getting into more constraints on, people who have, limited incomes, retirees, and so on. Retirees, social security incomes. So this also works in for family members with that. So the general provisions are accessory dwelling units can only be constructed on properties where there is a single-family dwelling or duplex dwelling that is the primary use on the same lot. Only one ADU is allowed per lot. Okay, no accessory dwelling units shall contain more than 2 bedrooms. Okay, the ADUs, they need to be, if they're city water and sewer, they need to be connected to those. If the property has access, and otherwise is they would need to go through the same process as for septic system, going through the health department for septic system, or if they're gonna need a separate water on that ADU rather than using the existing water, they would then need to go through the health department for the, that. Okay, so tiny homes built in accordance with the Indiana 1 and 2 family residential code and on a foundation, okay, and can be used as them. Then we also have mobile tiny homes may be permitted as a temporary use by the Fayette County Board of Zoning Appeals. And that would be along the lines of what we have allowed in the past as far as for medical reasons for family members. And this would be a more cost-effective option than making someone put in a large foundation, and a minute for a manufactured home of at least 1,080 square feet. So you can have a smaller structure and with any cost, and then with the preparation can also be reduced. Okay, the owner must record a deed or title restriction with the Fayette County Recorder that ensures the ADU is not sold separately from the primary unit. Okay, owner of a property with an ADU must live in either the primary dwelling unit or the ADU. Okay, development standards. ADUs are required to submit a separate site plan with the Area Plan Commission. Mobile home, manufactured home, semi-tractor trailer, boat, or motor vehicle shall not be used as an ADU. Gary questioned that, and so I think that's something worth having all these things are worth having a discussion on. Okay, and ADU may be a new freestanding structure, an addition, conversion of part of an existing dwelling, or part of an accessory building built in accordance with the Indiana 1 and 2 family residential code. Setbacks, the front setback must be situated behind the primary structure. Side and rear setbacks, same as primary structure for the zoning district. And there's a setback exception to, it's not requirements do not apply to a single-story detached accessory structure that has been converted to ADUs. Okay, the gross floor area is 220 to 800 square feet. Okay, the maximum height is 25 feet. And detached ADUs are required to meet the foundation requirements for a single-family dwelling. And I went through with this was multiple ordinances that I looked at, and a lot of this one is actually from the one in Bloomington. So it's places like Bloomington really are a little more forward when it comes to trying to deal with it, options along these lines. Okay, and that's where this is. Now, the other thing is then that with the, then the last page, there's some overlap with tiny homes and ADUs. Okay, now tiny homes as a primary dwelling unit, okay, for example, may be permitted in the A1 and A2 districts, because we regularly get requests for people who, out in the county, particularly on some of the wooded lots, they're looking for something like this. Then I have other people who come through and they want to have a, cabin. You know, use it as a, secondary use, secondary dwelling. And as a special exception, part of it might be, say, as a special exception in other zoning districts where single-family dwellings are permitted. Okay, tiny homes are permitted in uses in mobile home parks. And I haven't done as much, gotten as much research on this because there's a lot of reticence, as you can imagine, Indiana and elsewhere, to tiny homes. So particularly as permanent structures. So there's a lot of resistance and reticence, so some of it might be as using them along the lines of a, say, temporary use, might get people, more along the lines of, used to the idea. And this is where it comes in critical, is this last one I handed, which is Appendix Q, Tiny Houses from the Indiana Residential Code 2020. So what this has is all the actual standards they must be built to. And the idea with that is they need to be built properly, and rather than just saying, because some people have in their minds, all they need to do for a tiny home is just buy a shed and turn it into a yard barn and turn it into a tiny home, which isn't the case. Because they're not constructed for that. So this just gets into the standards, the ceiling height, loft access. Ladders, the emergency escape and rescue openings. So those are, those are the things related to I have at this point with the accessory dwelling units and the tiny homes. So questions?
Bill,
Yes,
I have two for you.
okay,
On the first page under general provisions, number 2.
yep.
What do we consider a lot?
Okay, well,
I mean, are we primarily talking about city lots?
City lots, or are you talking about a county?
City lots or even county lots.
Well, I mean,
I mean, I would, unless we do something to define it differently, I'm just gonna consider it a parcel.
Yeah,
So if I own 2 acres, I can't put basically 2 tiny homes.
If you have 200 acres
two accessory
on one
dwelling
parcel,
units,
you know what I mean, if one parcel's 200 acres, you've got
That's-
one ADU, yeah.
that's what I guess concerns me.
yeah.
But if you start, the
Whether we
concern I
create a
think there
city
is
lot-
is this a way to avoid a subdivision? You know what I mean? You don't wanna have 20 of these on a 200 acre lot, okay, sure, there's enough space, but you're kind of avoiding a subdivision, which,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Which-
I see what you're saying.
your other option would be to consider it to make it that parcel a trailer park, whatever that
Yeah.
works, and
Yeah.
that's a different.
Because I think we're all familiar with, there's different places in over time that have, and I've had, neighbors complain to some of these, and some people, for the most part, it really isn't, but basically a family compound.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta decide if you want that. If you want somebody to have 12 acres in the country and all of a sudden they put up 15 or 5 or whatever.
So otherwise, a scenario, if a family has a family home on 25 acres or 30 acres, and they have 2 or 3 kids, say 3 kids, and they all want to move back,
Yeah.
their only choice is to subdivide that
That property.
30 acres off, and so they can each build a house.
Could you not go and ask for a variance?
There's always,
For an exception?
that's always an option, yeah.
To put 2 houses on one parcel.
Yeah.
Or 3 houses.
Or
on
3
one parcel.
houses, or
Yeah.
4 houses.
As for special?
I'm gonna tell you, I'm always going to encourage you to make them subdivide that, or at least to split the parcel, because
Like
it
we
sounds
do
great
now.
for one generation now. But what do you do 2 generations, you know what I mean? What do you do 3 generations from
Yeah.
now when you've got 6 homes on one lot, one parcel? It doesn't,
Yeah, it's the, yeah,
We
it
currently
really, yeah, it causes,
currently
also causes a lot
divide
of.
that off
Yeah.
now, don't we?
and I think most counties I represent, that would be the preference, is
Yeah.
just to go ahead and already have that, because they're easy transferred, it doesn't make for quirky situations in the future.
And Yes,
Because in your situation, 25 homes or 25 acres, you're gonna be able to, if one of your kids wants a 3 acre lot or a 4 acre lot, and you could do easements for road access, and you can ask for, those kind of
Right.
things,
Okay.
so.
and, well, I was speaking with Steve Higginbotham, he called him yesterday about something different, so as we spoke. So I talked with him what we were looking at as far as things with ADUs and tiny homes. And he said, one of the things with them, they've dealt with them, said one of the reasons that they, with the tiny homes, was because in a lot of cases, it's because it fit in with the Amish families, but they have another family member, say their parents or grandparents move onto the property. So we allow that, because in the past, we had someone where they wanted to do that, but they had to split it. Go through the split process. But this would have allowed them to save them money and then also time to do something like this.
So, these tiny homes, personally, I don't see much difference between them and a mobile home.
Yeah.
Only size. So would we want to clarify that the tiny home has to be put on a foundation? Or
Yeah.
how can we say you can put a tiny home, but you can't put a mobile home?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm at the really front end with dealing with the tiny homes.
Yeah,
But it's definitely something to take into consideration with that. Because I did recognize as I was writing that and researching things, that there is some inconsistency between the two.
right. I don't have a problem with the language, but somehow we need to,
Yeah,
I would think, from a legal standpoint, Jeff, we would have to require something for that tiny home to sit on differently than a mobile home.
I think a lot of them are not placed on permanent foundations,
Yeah.
so they might be put on like a slab,
Well,
but they're not typically placed to where they're.
but we can do the same thing with a mobile home.
I'm with you. And that's why there's a lot of great things to this, but there's some bad things, because rental income is one of these things. Okay, well, what would you do if your neighbor in the country has 15 of these and he's renting them to, you know what I mean? Like, that may not be what you want.
That was another thing that I questioned as far as
Right.
allowing rental.
So I think Bill's done a great job of kind of giving us an introduction into it, and we can kind of discuss it, but I don't think it's something that is gonna be an easy 1 minute conversation, we're done.
no.
Because there's some negatives to these. As great as it is, I like the idea of, a grandparent suite, or you have a child that maybe can't live on their own, but they could live, independent, those kind of things. But the rental income component of it starts making me a little nervous. And I'm a guy who owns properties and has a lot of rentals. And I would not hate the idea of buying 10 acres and putting 10 of these on, but that may be unappealing to neighbors. So something to think about.
From a legal standpoint, do we have to allow the rental
No.
income?
No, you could make it to where it's that they could only be for. You got to get tricky, because how does if your kid is wanting to live, it's gonna be a little tricky. The rental part is gonna be something, and I might have to even research the legality of that, but we could do it for non-commercial purposes type thing.
Yeah. But like I said, this was like I said, this is a first draft of it.
Right.
But I think it gave us a good point for starting conversations.
They're coming, but just like tiny homes sound great. You travel down a town, down a street in town, and you see a whole bunch of homes that are in conformity, sit off the road a certain amount, and then you put a little tiny home right next to it. It might, it does.
Yeah.
It could be unappealing at times. A lot of value to them. I'm not saying I'm not saying that. I'm just saying give it a.
It concerns me of
Yeah.
giving tiny homes an open book.
Yeah.
As proposed, this kind of would be like, hey, it's effectively mobile homes anywhere you want them.
Yeah.
They just don't look like a mobile home.
Right.
Yeah, well, any case is that any place, it's through federal regulations, any place that allows single-family dwellings, you have, as long as it meets all of your zoning code requirements, which is why, on a foundation. you have to allow them, say, the minimum square footage. You actually have to allow manufactured homes if you allow regular dwellings, so you actually have to allow them. Now, the one thing none of these would set aside is none of these would, either the ADU or tiny homes, none of those would set aside any of the rules, covenants that you have in a subdivision.
Right.
So you can't have something like this if they're not allowed or permitted under the covenants.
Under the covenant.
Yes, it doesn't set them aside because, since the covenants are, the private agreements, so we can't stick our nose into private agreements.
Does our ordinance, I can't think of it right now, does it define mobile home? Does it define manufactured home? Does it define, what those are?
It's old enough where I don't have it has manufactured homes. And now, but when you look at, typically you think of manufactured homes, those are the mobile homes of the past. But but they're actually both lumped in together with both manufactured homes and modular homes are both considered manufactured homes because they're manufactured off-site. But the difference is that the standards for manufactured homes are lower, those are HUD standards. So I don't know if you've ever noticed looking at a manufactured home, you'll see the plate on it. And those are the HUD plates. Now, the modular homes have to be constructed to the residential code. So, but so in some of them is that some are really high quality, others are not high quality. So, just like anything else.
Just like stick built.
Yeah, yeah. Although one thing that you can do in those, because non-load bearing walls, you can actually use a 1x4. Doesn't make a very stable wall, but you can use them, for example, right there. Okay.
So Bill, will this be a standalone?
No, this would be inserted into the accessory uses.
Okay, inserted in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I figured it was probably just better to do this right now to get the discussion started, plus the time of placing it in there. So, I know we're not really near ready for this, just like other things in that, but it's all getting closer. And unfortunately, the whole last year, geez, it's put me way behind schedule on trying to do this stuff for the accessory uses.
So really, and this is just a question, but
Yeah, sure.
until we insert tiny homes
Yep.
into our ordinance,
Yep.
we probably ought to leave tiny homes out of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so so tiny homes would be
And then,
another discussion.
and then once we create the tiny home ordinance,
Yep.
then we can go back and amend this.
Yep.
Is that, am I thinking correctly, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't want to leave something in there that's someone sees as a loophole that might cause problems down the road.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anybody have any other questions, comments, or discussion on that?
Because the whole thing with me just having this stuff for the tiny homes is just to start getting you to, thinking about them, familiarizing you with them.
Bill, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
What is the difference with the tiny homes being a dwelling that is 400 square feet or less?
Yep.
And then the accessory dwelling units are between 200 and 800 square feet?
Yeah, so with that right there is the general accepted as when you look at different ordinances, states and so on with tiny homes, is 220 up to about 400 square feet. So we could probably, for our sake, increase that, with those. But the idea of the tiny home is that, well, it's the just lower cost option that goes with it. But yeah, so there's room at those square footages that could be played with. But the important one is, and I suspect that when you look at the ones with the under 800 square feet, because that's the, when you look at HUD, 800 square feet is the size for HUD dwellings.
It's the minimum.
Yeah. So so anything that's getting built for HUD needs to be 800 square feet. So, if it's, say, manufactured homes, anything like that.
Okay, anything else? Okay, we'll move on down to director's reports. Do I have any questions or comments on that?
So, surprisingly, we're starting to catch up with last year's numbers on the single-family dwellings, which I kind of find surprising. But, so the, part of that might be that, the lower, because there's not as much construction cost involved, but a pretty fair number of them this last year have also been, Amish dwellings.
Okay, if there's no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the director's report.
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, does anybody else have anything for this evening for area planning? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A motion and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Call the November 20th, 2025 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Jeff Fisher,
Here.
Darren Price,
Present.
Bill Free,
Present.
Richie Stevens,
Here.
Bill McDaniel,
Present.
Jeff Westling,
Present.
and Beverly Rude.
Okay, before you, we have the meeting minutes from the August 28th, 2025 BZA meeting. Do we have any additions or corrections to that?
That's the only one we have?
No, I had both.
Oh.
I had both in July and,
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. All right, we have two public hearings this evening. The first is for a home occupied business. It's at 5196 South County Road 450 East, Connersville, Indiana. Jackson Township, Section 23, Township 13 North, Range 13 East. Petitioners requesting a home-based business to operate a pet grooming business in a 1,152 square foot accessory building on an appointment basis only. At this time, we will open the public hearing.
okay, well, shall I start then with the one letter?
Oh, okay.
Yes. Read this into the records. Okay, Ms. Middleton is not here, but what she did, she took the copy of the notice that she received. Okay, notice this letter is received by certified mail on November 11th, 2025. And it's to Raymond McDaniel, Executive Director. We strongly prefer not to have a pet grooming business next door to our property, 4996 South County Road 450 East. Most sincerely, Laura K. Middleton and Cynthia A. Steinem. And that's all that was included in the letter.
All right, now you guys want. Come up. Would state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Hannah Gross, and I live at 5196 South County Road, 450 East.
All right, so just kind of tell us about what you're planning to do there.
I'm just wanting to operate a dog grooming service out of the barn that's on our property, and I will do an appointment-based operations, and I will book my appointments 1 to 2 weeks out to ensure that I'm not overbooking. And I will accept no walk-ins, and each appointment will be, I will slot it out to like 2 hours, so I will not have more than one dog there or one person at a time. And at each end of each service, I will notify the client in a 30-day like time or 30-minute time frame, so they have 30 minutes to come pick up their dog, and this ensures that I will only have one dog there at a time, because I do not want, like, I'm only one person and I can only handle like one dog at a time, and I do not want to be overbooked or too many people there at once. And I will only operate Monday through Friday, and I don't have an hourly base because it's appointment, like I don't have hourly times. But I want to slot my appointments from 8 to 5 p.m.
Excuse me, okay. Anybody have any questions?
Does it have water and sewage and the necessary means for equipment?
I have my water, like sewage, like I don't have a restroom in there, but like all my water is hooked up and everything. I have my water out there.
Okay, and would you be requesting for a sign, or is this gonna be like kind of a word of mouth?
Word of mouth.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make a motion to close.
Okay.
Do we have any public comment?
Okay, do we have any public comment?
Guessing not, but.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing. We have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Public hearing is closed. Okay, any discussion?
I make a motion, we accept it.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right.
All right, what I will do is I will send you a letter telling you the results of this for your records, that your home-based business request was approved.
Okay, our second hearing tonight is for 3705 North Opportunity Drive, Connersville, Indiana, 47331. Legal description is Metz Qualified Opportunity Zone, Sublot C, 1.175 AC, 3705 North Opportunity Drive, Harrison City Township, Section 12, Township, 14 North, Range 12 East. Petitioner is Casey's Marketing Company. Zoning classification is general business. Petitioner's asking for a section 153.24 special exception F20 for a new Casey's filling station, along with associated structures and 3 development standard variances from the sign regulation, section 153.37 signs.
There is one correction with that, is actually there's only one sign variance, and that's for the height of the pylon sign.
Okay.
That wasn't, that was an error on my part.
All right, this time we will open the public hearing. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Connor Strigey with Kinley Horn. I'm the civil engineer for this project. My business address is 500 East 96th Street, Suite 300, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46240.
Okay.
So, taking a moment to intro the project, we've got a proposed gas station convenience store, around 3,000 square feet on a piece of property, about 1 acre, a little bit more, located at the northeast corner of State Road 1 and Opportunity Drive. Like Bill introed, we're applying for a special use, which I understand is standard protocol for general business for the use of a gas station, but also the pylon sign, which, as I've communicated with Bill, we understand there's some complexity with the zoning ordinance, but also the subdivision requirements that we understand that we can resolve concurrently or jointly this evening.
Okay.
Because the BZA can also, as part at the same time, can also approve, okay, the signage plan at the same time. So like I said, the only one that's the request is gonna be the pylon sign. And as we've done with previous gas stations, because when you have the gas stations, fuel gas station signs, is they do need to be taller because of the, okay, the electronic signage that they have for, the price signage. So that would be very difficult to do, and then not have it at a level, and then maintaining the elevation at the bottom lowest part of any of the signs to not block views of sight lines. So,
Yeah, I suppose that's all for me. I guess as Bill mentioned, the sign is pylon in nature. You can see it's included in your handouts, so you've got a good visual depiction. You've got the dimensions. You've also got a little person standing by as a visual reference. The location of the sign, I don't know if you guys have a good reference. I think I shot Bill a bit earlier. If it's not immediately evident, it's at the southwest corner of the property. There's a little icon representing the sign. The sign, yeah. It's this darker, larger box right here.
Okay.
Not necessarily labeled. Feel free to speak up if you'd like further clarification. But that's the proposed location, which is offhanded about 20 foot back from the limits of the property, 22 feet from both the southernmost and westernmost property limits.
And how high is it?
Is that it there, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
25 feet measured at the top of the rooster. That's all from me though, but I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time about the nature of the business in regards to the special use or the details of the sign in regards to the variance.
now, I think one thing that greatly improved the site plan was the decision to then, on the north part of that lot, is to have it install a right turn in, right turn out of the property.
Okay.
It would be comparable to what we have up there at where the Burger King and all is.
Okay.
Burger King and the Goodwill.
Okay, yeah, that was a question that I was gonna have, especially with the way they've got the
Yep.
road markings laid out
Yep.
in that area.
We've been in conversation with NDOT, who's expressed favor for the latest design featuring the median of the road with the striping modification. We haven't formally applied yet, but we've got strong favorable feedback informally from the DOT.
Did you talk to him about putting a light in to Opportunity Drive?
At a light? No, not necessarily.
traffic light?
No.
I was just curious.
Yeah, well, that went back to when the whole thing with the light went into when Mr. Metz was developing this, and then with NDOT. So it wasn't, NDOT did not require one because they had the one that was just up north.
Right.
And so that's why there's such a long deceleration lane that's along the front of this commercial subdivision. Because it feeds right into the one that was built for the, where the Goodwill's at.
Right. Okay,
On the other, oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
Bill.
On the other side of Western Avenue, is there a signage height requirement right there? Because it seems to me like all those signs are generally the same size and height.
Okay, most of them is for example, is the maximum height in that, for that zoning district is if you think about the height of the sign for the Burger King. So, yeah, that was the reason for that.
I just meant on the opposite side, all the other signs.
It was like
The
billboards.
billboards.
Oh.
Yes, sorry,
No.
the billboards, thank you.
Now, two different animals not related.
Okay.
That's a whole other process.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anybody else have any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, do we have any public comment?
Can I speak?
Yep, oh, absolutely.
Just like that. Right, Brian Metz,
president of, SQUAZB. As far as, like, you're concerned about light, when I did that, dealt with, started in out there and, the thing, I gave him a few, I designed the property myself, I didn't even use my engineers to do that originally. And I gave him a few scenarios on that front where it came in, and he said, and he picked the one that was that, with a lot each side, and that's kind of the way I wanted it. And it worked best, and plus, when Casey's now, they're putting in that right in, right out, which is very detrimental to that development, because now, on that big lot, we're gonna take and, I'm gonna run another lateral, 8-inch sewer back, and we're gonna shoot for 2 restaurants there and a hotel, hopefully. And then the other thing they wanted was, Casey's could have come right in front of their lot, on the side, not in front, but right on the side when you first come in. And them and IDOT agreed it would be a better choice to go back that easement part, which is 60 foot, that goes behind those two, that lot C in front of the other one, because then it makes it less confusing for traffic. Plus it keeps it further back from the intersection of the state entrance I put in. And so then Casey's is eating the cost of putting that right in and right out, which is not cheap, the way they gotta do it, and then coming out, they're gonna do that first part of this, and then I'm gonna spend the money to join that completely right off the bat. And then put my lateral back, because I got a restaurant that's kind of pretty interested, and I think you guys would be happy if I got them here. So I'm working on some things that way, but we want, once they know we got this handled. But Casey's been very cooperative, everything I kind of want, and just like in the front, I said, with the grass areas, they're sprinkling everything. And then what I want to do is, I said, I'd like to get some really nice landscaping on the front and kind of to the side, so don't make it look like just a curve and grass entrance, And like you see the urgent care, their place looks nice, And that's what I'm shooting for in there. You can't put no pole barn up from that off on mine, That's why I got many pages, because I'm about putting stuff nice in Connersville and helping the economy for both of us.
Yeah, we had a lot of discussions over the covenants.
Yeah, and that's why, same way with my developments. I got developments right now, I'm selling lots like you think I was giving them away, because I have restrictions in them. In my subdivisions, there's no through streets. When I was 21 years old, I built my first house. And I was in my house, and I'd be out in my yard, and people would fly in one side and out the other side. And that's good for commercial, but it's not good for residential. My developments have kids walking in them, riding bicycles, ladies pushing strollers, no problem. You put a through street in, so every application is different. And applications of like the right in, right out, and what Cases has done above what they had to do is huge to the economic development of that development. So, and anytime I've said something to the engineers or the head people, Matthew Atkins, they're right on board to make it right and do it right. So I think we got a really good place coming in there, and they care.
And I'm assuming you're completely on board with the signage too, correct?
Yes. And I mean, if I feel something need to be changed a little bit, they would be cooperative. And
I can't think of a better person to state whether the sign would be appropriate there than you. I mean, it's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
impact the rest of your
pretty
lives.
picky.
I understand.
I mean, even my subdivisions have 3 pages of covenants.
Yeah.
So, but then now, some people don't want it. 99% of the people, Autumn Oaks, 8-lot subdivision. A house goes on the market, and I didn't build the one that don't sell quick. It was Tucker's home, but all the rest of the ones that I built and everything, 3 to 7 days. If they put something on the market, gone. I wish I had, and like Drewsburg, I got another one up there now. I sold 11 lots in a matter of probably a year, no signage. People want that. So, just like Salem Ridge, I don't know if you're familiar with that. Overlooks Brookfield Lake.
Yeah. I've heard of that.
Yeah, now I've got a bunch of, I got probably 5 or 6 homes going in there right now, and then I just sold 2 more lots that a guy wants to put $1 million home. I mean, but they love what I'm giving them. They can walk in that development, no through street, all panhandles, you know? And people, and I got people that buy 2 or 3 lots because they just want nobody next to them either. And, you know, you give people a nice product, they'll come. You know,
Absolutely.
and I want this development not to be just somebody where I want a tool rental, you know? I don't care, I care what goes in here, because my name's on it. So, and I think we got a good client to bring this further progress to us.
Well, as a planner, I appreciate your hands-on approach.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, a lot of times when I first started, if you remember right, he was very knowledgeable, and I was like, I would've had less lots. And I said, well, Bill, you know, the thing is about commercial, a lot of times they need a little extra space, right? You might get a company in, and then they need 1.5 acres. And, you know, then you gotta go through the appeal process, all this. He goes, Brian, I said, how can I do this to change, make more lots? And then, as long as you don't create more lots, so then what I can do is say if I have 2-3 acres in a row, and I have a company come and say, we need 1.5 acres. My surveyor can go out there, do it, record it, done, and we just saved that company probably 90 to 120 days of process of getting it through. And that's huge. So there's no limitation on this development, on where we can go with this. That's all I have to say. Anybody have any questions?
Very good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chad Frank, Mayor, address is right here. I will say this, that if you have any questions on the entryways and everything, me and the street department been in communication with NDOT the entire time. We did have a request that they've been more than willing to work with. They changed everything we asked for. It's been great. So they've been a great company to work with. We're excited to have them here. Even with Brian, he and I can banter better than anyone. In fact, there was one time I hung up on him. I thought, uh-oh, I just ruined this deal. And we called back and we get along great. So I will say this, his standards are better than anyone I've ever met for everything he does. I've seen the standards for building are just beautiful. So we're excited to see this go in this side. The city supports this and we're behind it 100%.
Okay. Thanks, sir. All right, anybody else? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Public hearing is closed. Okay,
I make a motion to accept it as read.
okay.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve.
That second, Richie?
Yep. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the director's report. Anybody have any questions or comments for Bill on the director's report? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right. Any other discussion this evening? All right. If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.